started. Welcome. My name is Tony. I'm the education coordinator over at the International Museum of the Horse, and this is Equine Ed. So with Equine Ed, we host one of these first Saturday of every month. We can change that a little bit for special occasions, but we bring different speakers and people associated with all aspects of the equine world, whether it be dealing with the actual horses to painting or working with the horses and a variety of other matters. And so we kind of bring this to show you the wide variety of things that go on within the equine world and bring you hopefully a little bit better lens into what encompasses the full equine world. So this Saturday we have Erin O'Keefe here, Development Director from the Retired Racehorse Project, who will be talking about what she does there with the Retired Racehorse Project and what they do as a whole, and dive a little bit also as well into one of our events that we've got going on here at the park next week, which is the Thoroughbred Makeover. So without further ado, I will get out of the way and let Erin take over the show.
Hi everyone. So I'm with the Retired Racehorse Project, and for those that don't know, this is an organization that works with off-the-track thoroughbreds as they transition through a variety of different means. We have our flagship event here at the horse park next week, so I'm going to give a little background on the organization as well as some information about what's coming up this week. In just a moment. That would have been a lovely mission video that we have that just shows kind of some of the scenes around the horse park and some of the things that we do. So our organization does not physically take in horses. So if you're familiar with anyone like New Vocations or the Secretariat Center that's actually based kind of here at the edge of the horse park, they take in the horses and retrain them themselves. What we do is work to create demand in those second careers for the horses. So one of the biggest ways we do that is through our Thoroughbred Makeover, but we also have our 3 pillars of to educate, serve, and inspire. So for educational content, we have an extensive online library of resources, both articles on training, nutrition, hoof care, kind of anything you may be interested in. We run a series called the Masterclass, where we'll bring in professionals that work with thoroughbreds in a variety of disciplines and have demos at things like the Land Rover 3-day event here. And they'll discuss things like how to identify a prospect for their next career and what they may be suited for, as well as how to develop that horse through the levels, as well as things like this and our webinars and panels and things like that, anywhere that we can go and try and answer questions about thoroughbreds in second careers. We also on our website have an online listing service, so if you're coming from the racing side and you have a horse that's ready to retire, it's a free service to list them. We have everything from horses freshly retired off the track to horses competing at the makeover that are listed to horses that are many years into their retraining process. Just any thoroughbred at any level can be listed there, and so it's a great spot for people interested in getting a thoroughbred to go and look as well. And then we have our Thoroughbred Makeover, which is our flagship event. It is a $100,000 retraining competition that's been here at the horse park since 2015. So the first ever training event that we did was the training symposium, and it was a much smaller event. And throughout those early years of the Retired Racehorse Project, we had like a 100-day retraining challenge and some smaller events. The first ever Thoroughbred Makeover, as it was called, actually took place at Pimlico Racetrack, which is where the Preakness is held every year. And that was in 2013 and 2014. As the event grew in popularity, it became apparent that it needed to be at a much larger venue, and that was when we moved here to the Kentucky Horse Park. Because of the size of the event, there's really nowhere else in the country that we could hold this event. This is a very unique facility that is equipped to handle the wide range of disciplines and the large volume of horses that we have. In 2020, we had to cancel due to COVID, and so in 2021, we hosted what we called the Mega Makeover, and had the horses that would have competed in 2020 year, so they had another full year of retraining, as well as our 2021 class. So we had 2 finales and everything. It was quite an extensive event. And then this year, for the first time, we have expanded our eligibility, and we'll have former broodmares competing at the event this year. So we have, basically, what we try and do with the makeover is incentivize those trainers that know how to take a horse off the track into a second career to do that. So not every rider is equipped or wants to deal with teaching a horse a whole new career, but we try and encourage those that are equipped to do it by having this retraining competition. So horses are only eligible 1 year. It's not something they can come back and compete in again. And so what we've seen is that there's a volume of our trainers that are first-time people that are really excited and use our resources to help guide them in learning about how to transition these horses. And then we have professional trainers that has become part of their business model. And so they'll take these horses and retrain them for a year and then sell them. And at the end of that process, those horses are much more commercial for anyone. A much more casual rider is a good fit for that horse at that point in time. And so that's where this competition incentivizes what we do. Our preliminary competition runs this Wednesday and Thursday. And then the finale happens on Saturday here at the horse park. So there are 10 disciplines that the horses can compete in. Any horse can compete in up to 2 disciplines. And it's a mix of some do 1, some do 2. And it's pretty much anything that you could think of that they would want to do, including the freestyle division, which is sort of the catch-all. So freestyle can be liberty work, which is something that I think is very popular on YouTube and things like that, where they might be bridleless and bareback, but it's also an opportunity to showcase anything that your thoroughbred is good at that isn't captured by the other disciplines. So some people will do much more advanced dressage demonstrations. Some people will do reining demonstrations. We have a competitor that does driving, and so that's the outlet to do that as well. So anything that the horse is best suited for, if it doesn't fit in the other 9 disciplines, which most do, freestyle is that option to be able to catch everything else as well. And then throughout the week, we also have seminars. We have a vendor fair in the covered arena. We've got a silent auction, and just a lot of activities to bring people out to engage in learning and getting to see these horses. And it's really, we've talked about it as a staff, and I don't think that there's anywhere else that you can see this range of disciplines at the same venue at the same time. That you can come in and you can see horses competing in dressage, and then go out and look at cross country and see the field hunters and barrel racing all in one spot. So the trainers that compete have to be accepted into the program. So they're the ones that are applying, and then it's on them to find the horse that's eligible. The trainers apply all the way back in January of this year, and they have to submit videos, their competition information, a letter of recommendation from their vet. All of that gets submitted to our application review committee, and that is comprised of wonderful, wonderful volunteers who are professionals experienced in each of those disciplines that we have represented, so that they can speak to say, yes, this is a video of somebody competently and qualified riding in this discipline. This is someone that we feel is equipped to handle transitioning a thoroughbred in its first year off the track. And then the trainers are notified in February of their acceptance, and they can have started retraining their horses by then. So we do see sometimes trainers that come year over year are reasonably confident they'll get accepted, and a lot of them right now are getting ready to come down for this year's competition and are coming with an extra spot on their trailer, planning to pick up a horse for next year already. And so all the horses competing will have raced or had a published work, which is like an official workout at the track, in the last 2 years, but not started retraining until December. And so part of the reason for that is a lot of thoroughbreds coming off the track are ready to go in another career. They want to have a job, they want to go do something. But sometimes they may be retiring with a small injury or just needing some more time mentally to decompress off of the track. And so this time frame allows for them to physically and mentally heal if needed and still be able to compete. And so we have a range. I think we have some that are, we have at least one that raced early this summer that's coming to the competition, and it's someone who had spotted the horse on the track a year ago and was like, that's gonna be my makeover horse. Whenever it retires, I want it, like that's where we're going. And it was a horse with a great foundation that really likes having a job and has just absolutely taken to its new discipline and will be competing. And then we have some that are kind of at the very edge of that eligibility that took a lot of time off for whatever reason. So then this year, for the first time, we also have a former broodmare division. And so those mares just have to have raced or had to work at any point in their life. And that just guarantees that that horse has actually been ridden and is being retrained and not put under saddle for the first time. And then those, they can't have shown before, but they can have had rides because inherently these mares are older. Our average age in our regular eligibility is about 5 or 6, whereas with the brood mares it's 12. So these are horses who have likely had more owners, and there's just no way to know if one of those owners may have ridden them. So we've taken away that ride requirement for them. And they just have to have been bred or had a foal as registered with the Jockey Club in the last 2 breeding seasons. So that group represents an age range from, I believe, 4 to 20. So some of them maybe were bred once or had 1 foal, and for whatever reason, their owners decided that they were done being a broodmare. Some of them retired due to their own age, and were actually quite successful broodmares, but were bored on the farm. Some horses like to sit in a field and hang out with their buddies, some like to have a job. And so this is an outlet for those horses to be able to do that as well. And the broodmares will compete concurrently and just have their own pot of prize money. So if you come out to the event and you're watching, you may see 2 geldings go through, and then it may be a 15-year-old former broodmare. They're competing on the same courses with the same judges. They just, because of that lack of a ride requirement, have their own set of prizes and ribbons. So this year, there are 404 horses that had completed final registration for the event. So throughout the process, we had 576 horses that trainers declared at some point and for whatever reason changed their mind. So a lot of times what we see is people will get a horse and think they're gonna take it to the makeover, and then either the horse isn't gonna do well on that time frame, or the horse is doing really well and they ended up selling it prior to the event and getting another one. And so although those horses don't end up competing, we do see where they have been positively impacted by the program and what we do. Of those 404, 297 our trainers got directly from their connections at the track. So knowing the trainer or the breeders or walking around on the backside, whatever it may be, directly sourcing those horses. And then the rest of them came from either for-profit resellers. So a lot of tracks will have people that, you know, the trainers at the track know, I'm ready to retire this horse. I can go talk to that person. They're gonna get it sold into a good home. Or our nonprofit facilities, like our TAA, which is the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance, accredited programs where a trainer or an owner can say, this horse is ready to retire. I don't necessarily know anything about what comes next for them, but I'm gonna place them in this spot where I know they'll be placed in a good home. And so some of our trainers have adopted through those programs as well. They raced all over the country and all over the world, actually. The Charlestown and Mountaineer, which are both in West Virginia, were the tracks that had the highest amount of horses that was their last start out of. But we have horses coming in from everywhere. And 206 were foaled right here in Kentucky, which is about a third. But we had them in France, Great Britain, Ireland, and there's one from Chile as well. And so some of those were born in those countries and were imported prior to racing. Some of them raced over there and then came over here and raced. I believe one of the ones from France was actually a stakes winner in both countries, and is now competing in the makeover. So it's really a wide range of where they come from and how they've ended up competing at the makeover. There is a misconception that off the track thoroughbreds were slow as racehorses. Just because they're in a second career does not mean they weren't successful in their first. This year, notably, we have several Breeders' Cup contenders, which most every year we do. Art Lowe and Red King actually raced against each other in the 2020 Breeders' Cup turf, which was right here at EquineEd. Red King retired with a little over $500,000 in earnings, and he's competing in competitive trail and freestyle. Arklow retired with over $3 million in earnings, and he is competing in field hunters. And he's not owned by his racing connections, but his current connections were involved with him prior to his retirement, and are very, very excited about him as a field hunter prospect. So we've got 3 Breeders' Cup runners, we've got multiple graded stakes winners, and as you can see, there's a lot more that goes down, but a lot of regional stakes placed horses where they were successful, they won races, they won at a good level, but particularly with colts and geldings, if they weren't the absolute elite top of their class, they're not going to be retired to the breeding shed, so they go on to a second career. And there's even some mares in there that we have from our broodmare division, as well as our traditional eligibility. If any of you are from the area and saw like the Keeneland sale in September, a lot of these horses sold for a lot of money when they were younger. So the sales topper of this class is Brother in Arms, and his mom won the Kentucky Oaks, which meant that when he was a yearling, he sold for $2.9 million. He raced 4 times. He was not a bad racehorse. He did not ever win, but his connections obviously had high hopes when they bought him. And they are connections that if the horse isn't going to compete at that very top level, they're very quick to retire them when they can go on to a second career and be very talented there. Highgate Road is another one of our top sellers. He was a $310,000 yearling. And the 2 of them actually raced against each other in both of their very brief race careers, and will be rematching in dressage at the makeover this year. So we'll see who can win that. But we had horses that sold at Keeneland facing Tipton, OBS, which is Ocala Breeder Sales down in Florida, as well as ones that sold in France because that's where they were born. And 36% of the fest sold through public auction, and of that, 81 of those sold more than once. So some of these horses maybe were sold as a yearling and then again as a 2-year-old, going through kind of all of the phases of the thoroughbred, the traditional aspects of the thoroughbred industry. In addition to the competition, we have a lot of events that go on, several of which are new for this year. So we've always had seminars during the makeover because we feel that the educational component is a key thing. We have all of these people that are very interested in thoroughbreds and retraining and aftercare and learning what they can all in one place, either competing or supporting their friends or cheering these horses on. And so we've always included that. This year, we're putting a twist on it, and these seminars will be hands-on and interactive with horses. So our Wednesday, and they'll both be at the Murphy Pavilion at 3:30 in the afternoon. On Wednesday, we're gonna have a demo neurologic exam with Dr. Steve Reed from Root and Riddle and Dr. Sarah Roos from VI. And they're gonna demonstrate on a horse that does have neurologic symptoms and a horse that does not have neurologic symptoms, what that exam looks like, what to look for in your horse, how to identify a difference between a lameness or just a bad step or something that you need to call your vet about. And so that'll be a chance anyone can come and ask questions and learn and see what that looks like. And then our Thursday seminar will be a body condition score assessment. So body condition scores for horses are hard to judge sometimes, and we tell our competitors that you cannot judge them from a picture. You really have to see the horse in person to know what condition they're in. Part of the competition, they have to pass an arrival exam, and there is a baseline, they must be a 4 or above body condition score to be allowed to compete. So all of our competitors are very aware of the need for a proper body condition score, but not necessarily having had the chance to hands-on assess with a variety of horses. So for this seminar, we will have horses of all thoroughbreds of different lengths of time off the track in different levels of work to demonstrate what different body condition scores or even the same score can look like with different levels of fitness and different athletic pursuits. And that'll be with Dr. David Alexander of Root and Riddle, and so he'll talk through kind of how you would score a horse, how you make those assessments, as well as answering questions on things like if there's issues that you see, does your horse need to lose weight or gain weight, and what the options may be there. And so those will both be in the afternoon outside, hands-on with the horses. We're very excited about it. We are also adding an event called Barrels and Brews. So in conjunction with the Thoroughbred Makeover, the Thoroughbred Incentive Program is running their championships at the same time and then after our event. So the makeover and tip barrel classes happen together, and that will be on Thursday evening. So our vendor fairs in the covered arena, there's going to be, I believe it's West 6, we'll have beer trucks there, there'll be food trucks. We're gonna have extended hours for our vendor fair, so you can come, watch the horses barrel racing, grab a drink, grab some food, walk around and check out the vendor fair. The silent auction will be there as well. The silent auction is set up all week and the bidding is online, but you can wander around, see if anything catches your eye there. And that's at 5 o'clock on Thursday. The preliminary competition runs basically all day Wednesday, all day Thursday at most of the venues that you can compete at the horse park. And the easiest way, if there's something that you specifically had an interest in seeing, is to head to the website and see when that is on the schedule and where to catch exactly what discipline you may be interested in. But if you're interested in all of them, the finale on Saturday is the easiest way to see all of that. So our Saturday finale is the top 5 horses from every discipline will compete consecutively. So we will run through all 10 disciplines in the covered arena, and it's a chance to see, you can sit in one spot all day and watch thoroughbreds with 10 or less months of retraining, do field hunters and dressage, and then sort cattle at the end. And it's pretty impressive, and we've had horses that have made the finale in more than one discipline. So 2 years ago, there was someone in the finale for show hunters and ranch work, which meant that same horse went out in his hunter braids and jumped a course and came back about an hour or 2 later and sorted cattle. So it's not just impressive by that all of these horses can do one of these things, but a lot of them are doing more than one, and often quite successfully. And we also have things like our ASPCA Right Horse Adoption Barn. So if you are looking for a horse, we have our Right Horse partners, so ASPCA affiliated organizations bringing in adoptable horses. And they'll have a donut breakfast to kind of come and meet the organizations and see the horses there, as well as those horses are available all week, and they're available for trial as well. We have our ASPCA sponsored marketplace, which is how we identify the horses competing in the makeover that are also for sale. So everything from fresh off the track prospects to horses with that a year of retraining are available as well, and we have trial arenas for test rides and things like that as well. So that is it. If anyone has any questions about either the makeover or the Retired Racehorse Project and the other initiatives we do, I'd be happy to answer them.
Well, I appreciate it, Erin. Thank you very much I definitely learned a lot. And I will be checking it out next week. So yeah, so if you're around the horse park next week, check out the Thoroughbred Makeover. Obviously lots of events, and it's gonna be going on Wednesday through Saturday, correct?
Yep, the horses will start shooting at noon on Monday. So if you're out here on Tuesday, there will be a lot of thoroughbreds around as everybody familiarizes with the venues and things like that. And then just on that table in the back, if anyone's interested, there's some things with a little more information, as well as the links to our website and some issues of our magazine, which has the show program, as well as one with a profile of our new broodmare division.
Awesome. Well, really appreciate it. Thank you again. And if anybody is interested in coming to any more of these, they're first Saturday of every month, and check out our Facebook page and other socials for all that information. So awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again, Erin.